Hello, everyone. These are very moving days when we have hostages coming back home. These are horrible days when we bury our dead. And today, Oded Lifshitz, tomorrow, Shiri Ariel, and Kfir Bivas. These are days of pain and rage for the cruelty of Hamas, but also days that are full of security opportunities that are exceptional, and we mustn't let the anger, the rage blind us so much as that we miss the historic opportunities that we now have on the table because we are the ones who can determine how the future of Israel will look like. So it's easy to agree about the immediate goals. They are written in the list of goals of the war and have not been fulfilled. Bringing back all of the hostages home, and we should not let Hamas remain instated in Gaza. These two goals of war are justified and were not completed after over a year, almost a year and a half of intense war. And we can get both these goals, get all of the hostages out of Gaza as well as Hamas. But those who say that it is possible to get these goals only if we now go back to fighting the war are those who will make it happen. Both that Hamas will remain instated in Gaza and that we will not see all the hostages come back home. Continuing the war will not topple Hamas regime because regimes must be changed, which cannot be performed only by military actions. Continuing the war will not bring the hostages back. We've tried that already. And after all these very long months of intense war, Hamas is still governing Gaza, and we don't have all of the hostages home, which did not happen because we didn't allow IDF fight and win. We did let IDF do it, and the IDF did it with high prices. This all happened because of the failure that started on October 8th and has continued until this very day, which is today, after the day after the war is over, which is also why we're going through this horrible reality show, so to speak, of releasing the hostages in pulses instead of right now in one time. So I would like to remind everyone who feels like a punch in the stomach when you, like I feel, when we see the horrible Hamas murderers of babies rejoicing in Gaza. You all need to know that we had another option. We have dramatic opportunities because IDF was able to recover and to show amazing abilities during the war to weaken the Shiite axis and Hamas. Additionally, Trump's threats and him demanding other states around here to absorb the Gazans, this idea being pushed that is pushing our neighboring countries to find a different solution, but without Hamas. For so many years, we didn't have a consensus such as this, that everybody is agreeing that Hamas cannot remain in regime. The alternative, instead of continuing the war, is releasing all of the hostages right away, no waiting anymore. And simultaneously, and I'm saying simultaneously because it was supposed to already be behind us. For this summary, this agreement should have been taken care of during the entire past year. So coming to an agreement with our neighboring country and the USA to have a great alliance against Hamas, the basis of which Hamas regime does not remain in Gaza as an armed militia, but it is replaced by a Palestinian regime that is not terroristic and will be enforced by and strengthened by Arabic countries and will enter in phases because it takes time. The rehabilitation of Gaza will not happen through Hamas. Demilitarization of Gaza, Egypt border will have an underground bloc, and Israel will maintain its military actions against terrorism, including the tunnels in Gaza. I would have used this opportunity already. This I would have already, summed up a long time ago, but I would also use this opportunity that is sponsored by the new American administration to change the UNRWA status of being a refugee, so that many generations to the future will not be dreaming about coming back, to say that terrorists are not allowed to take part in the elections. And I proposed to the American administration in 2005, before the elections there, what is right for Hamas and for Hezbollah. And it's much clearer today, 20 years after that. It's all over. The story should be behind us of a military a branch and a political branch. All of these terror organizations should choose, in the ballots, and not be shooting around to get elected. And of course, we mentioned here about the regional balance and security in a way that will not allow the Iranian Shiite axis to recover, or the Turkish go into the void in Syria and lead a local agenda against Israel. All of this could happen. It is something that will happen in stages. A return of the hostages immediately, and all the rest of it should happen in stages. But Israel's government doesn't want to do it, which is not for the first time. It doesn't have a strong political footing, despite the fact that the security of Israel is always standing on two pillars, political and military. At the end of one of the previous wars, I already made a decision such as this that was supposed to be accepted by everyone in the Security Council, with very similar principles of demilitarization, of rehabilitation not by Hamas, of having the Palestinian Authority entering their faces, etc. And today, the opportunity is much bigger. But even then, when all of the Security Council waited for a yes from Israel, Israel stammered and stumbled and then said no. And it is happening today as well. And it is happening because the conception is coming back. It's the same conception we've had before October 7th. Instead of completely dismantling Hamas infrastructure and finding mitigating regimes to replace them, because governments are being replaced. And Bibi Netanyahu was the first person to know that. So remaining Hamas in the government, and instead of promoting the mitigating entities, is what has happened until this very day. So it's not only that Israel allows them to get the money from Qatar, but this will continue to happen, because when Israel's government demands all these groups, all of the Arabic states, all of the states around that are willing to strengthen the Palestinian Authority and go to Gaza, when Israel is saying the Palestinian Authority will not be involved, what will happen is a zero-sum game. Hamas will stay put. So the choice always in the Middle East is between options. Presenting a religion conflict that is unsolvable and behave like monsters, are exactly the same as the people who coordinate with us actions against Hamas. That person decides for us that we will remain with the monsters and will take this conflict that is national and I hope solvable, and turn it into a religious conflict that is not solvable and has nothing to do with security. There are legitimate claims against the Palestinian Authority. I also have them, and of course that we need to learn lessons from the past and not give them the key and just expect for good things to happen. And of course that we need to strengthen significantly, get significant support from region states. But all of these states will come, that were mentioned right here in this last panel. They will only come if they get an invitation, or say if the PA is involved. And so when they are left out, then the PA is also left out. Why is it happening to us? In fact, it's not a security story. We can have a security discussion, and we've seen many of those throughout the day. But the panel that just took place here was in fact not taking place where decisions should be made. Because those who prefer war rather than replacing Hamas with mitigating entities are the ones who would not allow normalization with Saudi Arabia, because we're not allowed to have a political horizon, not for the Palestinians, neither for us. Those are the people who hope Israel will remain in Gaza, settlements will be built, which does not represent any security strategy. Settlements do not give us security. The IDF is the one who should give us security. And we didn't have enough. We didn't have enough seeing what happened in those kibbutzes, in those communities, in order to send civilians in there to live next to those 2 million Gazans. People will tell me, we have only 2 million. They're going to disappear. We have the Trump plan. the willing transfer, the relocation, the volunteer relocation, the new hope that has replaced the total victory that Netanyahu has already, declared from the Knesset podium. This is his plan for the next day. By the way, in the meantime, Washington has already changed what they're saying and the contents they said before, and what has been is not what is. But this is the new hope. But the role of the leadership is to give true solutions. And it is now time for us to be able to unite around the right thing, which is not only we have enemies and we must be united. And we know to be united during a war, but truly, what do we do next? And we need to let go of these prophets of lie and let go of metaphors and imageries. I've heard for years about blames against the people who support separation for Palestinians, saying they're naive. You guys don't understand the Arabs. You don't speak their language. You are the ones who want to live with the Palestinians and give them treats. So let's talk about the new naives, because now they seem that now the Gazans will be so happy, so content, just leaving Gaza according to Trump's plan and completely disappear from our lives. Does this sound realistic to you? Suddenly they think that we shall go on with the settlements, with the blockades, and they will just wake up in the morning and say, no, you know what, you guys are fine for us. I mean, I want to divorce from the Palestinians with an agreement. But these people are the ones that will enforce it upon us to live with them in the same tiny territory between the Mediterranean and the Jordan River, and the same violent country with those monsters. They call them monsters. There was an attempt now for a bus terrorist attack, and somebody tweeted, and I can't give credit, but somebody gave me a picture, tweeted a picture of the terrorist with a title saying this is the terrorist that the left wing wants to give a state to. And my answer to that is, this is the terrorist that the right wing wants to live with in one state. So let's let go for a second of imageries and talk truly about what can be done, what should be done, what's the opportunity, and put aside the conception, and in this opportunity saying goodbye to imageries. Right men don't give more security than others. So look, what I just presented is our true choice. It always has been. It has been since 1997, when 1947, when Zionism did take the decision to take the separation agreement by the Brits. And when we decide what is our national destination, is it a Jewish state? Is it a democratic state? Is it separating from the Palestinians? This is where we're headed. We'll deal with the problems on the way, with obstacles on the way. And the people who want to take us to a Jewish state in the religious meaning, with no democracy, with no equality, they should understand that we don't have any intention of going towards that direction with them no more. We need to say exactly what we are facing. I've been hearing ministers threatening to topple the government if they don't start the war again. And I just mentioned the reasons for that. It's for different reasons that are not of security. It's Jewish religious reasons. But because this crossroad is so significant, and because the opportunity is so great, we should not allow the war, this just war, that was there for the security of Israel. We shouldn't let it become a war for unity of the government, and let it end like all of the previous wars, with Hamas still in government and some of the hostages remaining in Gaza, especially not after all of the effort by the IDF, all of the sacrifice and high prices paid by the state of Israel. So, in order to finish, more optimistically, let's think of the opportunity, and let's fight together in order for this opportunity to be realized and not remain like many other missed opportunities in the garbage of the history. Thank you very much.